One of the biggest challenges we have as managers is fighting the temptation of improving every square foot of our ground. The desire is understandable. If you can improve every square foot of your ground, make it the best habitat around, you can hold more deer. And that is very true. The problem is how do you hunt them now? There are tremendous advantages to keeping the deer on your ground, stupid, and even more so to the small landowner. When you've got neighbors that are absolutely pummeling their woods, you want to create your property as a sanctuary. That way you suck them in as the neighbors are hunting. Every day of hunting season that goes on, you can make it so that your deer population keeps going like this while everybody else is going like that. But the key to doing so is to keep the deer ignorant of hunting pressure while they're on your ground. Having hunted public ground since I was a kid, all the way up until this day and age, the entire key to my approach to hunting public ground, or any ground that's absolutely pummeled, is to go ahead and find those locations that no one else goes, because guess what? Let's replicate that on our 20, on our 40, on our 60-acre properties, on our 3,000-acre properties if you're lucky enough to have one. You replicate that, and what ends up happening? All the deer from the surrounding area, when they get pressure, boom, they end up hitting your property because they feel safe there, because it does not matter how hard we hunt that property. If the deer don't realize that they're being hunted, they're not. Perception is reality. Coming full circle back, that is why we cannot improve every square foot of our ground. If we do that, the deer are going to be everywhere. If the deer are everywhere, how are we going to get in to hunt without bumping deer? How are we going to get out to our stands without bumping deer? You can't do it. Dead zones are critical, but here's a catch. I have to credit one of my photo evaluation clients for coming up with this idea. He and I kicked this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm telling you, it's surprising. As a side note, it may be surprising to hear, I would say over half of my photo evaluation clients consist of the top 20% of habitat managers I know. And David Wallen is no exception, from New York, where they have very, very bad winters, just like in Wisconsin and northern Minnesota and the UP of Michigan, those types of places where overwinter browse is mission critical. He wanted to go ahead and try to make it so that he could produce more browse even in his dead zones, those zones that you generally are safe to travel through. And here's what we came up with. Selective thickening. What you do is you go into those dead zones and you hinge cut the very low timber value trees. Just about the diameter like this. What you want to do is you want to hinge cut it just enough so that there's extra browse for when it gets really bad, but nowhere near the level of browse that there is back over here where we want them to be. There's just enough cover so that when they're going through there, they have to dog for does a little bit harder. Just go through and hinge cut a level of low timber value trees to increase the cover, increase the browse, but not so much as to go ahead and inspire bedding or regular feeding in these areas. You do that, now come late winter, when those deer desperately need that browse and they're starting to put the hammer down on the quality browse, they can go ahead and transition out to these dead zones that were selectively thickened to go ahead and get some more browse.
Growing Big is brought to you by Wildlife Research Center, the gold standard. Reconyx, see what you've been missing. Antler King, bigger bucks, healthier deer. The Heater Bodysuit, you stay warm or your money back. Furminator, the best food plot implement on earth. Bush Hog, performance you can count on. Redneck Blinds, the best hunting blinds on the planet. Chestnut Hill Nursery and Orchards. And foodplotsfordeer.com, planning your habitat improvements and improving your hunting.
Dead zones are very important to your habitat plan. You don't want to make every square foot of your property the best in the world. You do that, it becomes absolutely impossible to slip in and slip out for hunting. Now, there's no safe wind directions, none of that stuff. Dead zones are important. Selective thickening can help satisfy that urge from getting every drop of blood out of that turnip. Now, do that, hinge cut it just enough to increase the browse, but not make it a primary browse source, not make it a primary bedding location, and you're going to be much further off.